Hello, welcome back to Turntable Guy. On the bench today we have a Dual 606. This is a direct drive dual, which is a little bit of a rarity. It's basically come in for a full service. The owner has owned this one since new, which is a rarity in itself, and he says he's never done a thing to it. So that says something about dual reliability. I like working on duals. I think they're very mechanical turntable to work on. Lots of interesting points of reference as far as greasing and lubrication, as far as oil, all sorts of different things that I enjoy doing on a dual. Setting up the tone arms, it's just a little bit different. It's a European turntable, right? So it's something nice to work on. I mean, I would say that I probably work on a quarter of my turntables are probably duals, which has something to say with how many bloody turntables they sold back in the day, considering they weren't one of the major Japanese brands. So yeah, they're nice to work on, and I'm sure this one will be enjoyable as well. So let's just quickly see how it functions. It was like he said it was working. It says everyday turntable, so it should be okay. Okay, so this is a ULM series. It's got the ultra light tone arm, and it is suspended. So this is the one you bring over here, and then you drop the stylus. And at the end of the record, it should just auto lift, not auto return. And there we go. Oh, what the hell do I know, right? So this is an auto return. So this might have a starter pimple on it. So we'll check out the condition of that, but looks like it's working nicely. On these ones, the platter mat is stuck to the platter from the factory. And how you get the platter off is there's a little retaining screw here. You just put your screwdriver in there, loosen it, and push it to the right, and then this will come out. This should be locked, and it is. So, and you don't need to turn this turntable upside down because the entire table mechanism comes out of the case. And basically, to do that, you loosen all these three screws here. I'm sure you've seen me do that many, many times. Then the case lifts out, or the turntable lifts out of the case. Now, I thought I saw at the back of this one, there's a couple retaining screws. Yeah, for the cables. They're right, and something's loose inside of there. There's a couple screws here you have to remove first to loosen the cables, and they need to come out with the turntable. So I'm going to do that. If you really want to know how that's done, I have lots of dual videos. Just scroll through one of them. It's usually right at the beginning of the video on how to remove the table from the case. So I'm going to get that out, and I'll be right back. Okay, we've removed the table from the case. I found this floating around in there, and that is an arm clamp. But this table already has an arm clamp, which is interesting. So I guess the gentleman's got a spare now. All right. So, like I mentioned, platter. Yours may be stuck down to your platter mat may be stuck down to the platter. If so, you can peel it up. It's just a little bit of two-sided tape holding it down. So you can pull that out, and then you're going to need, I believe, a flathead screwdriver just to go in here, and you just loosen this screw. You can get at it. I'm pretty sure that's the one. It usually is. Maybe not on this one. That's not it. That's not it. That's a motor screw. Huh! This turntable guy stumped. Was this it? Have I finally been defeated? Maybe. I can't for the life of me find out where the hell the release screw is for this platter. Please don't tell me it's just a pull up. Hang on, let's see. Oh, it is. Aha! I have not yet been defeated. So, you got a 606. You don't need a... sorry, I got my flashlight on here. You don't need a retention screw. Don't unscrew these. That's the motor. So, okay. Here we go. So, oh yes. So this is a little bit different than other duals. You can actually see how the auto return mechanism works on this one, which is fun. There's the home position. And because it's so simple to get at, I think we're going to service that. Let's zoom in a little bit here. Okay. Looks like a simple E-clip here. Just pry that back. We should be able to pull this up if I'm not mistaken. Yes, good. All right, yeah, so this is a good place to apply fresh grease, and on the little nub here that activates the tone arm, and all within the cam, the auto return cam here. So we'll give that a nice cleaning. And there's a little bit of alcohol. And we'll apply some fresh grease. So you want a grease on this, not an oil. So the first thing is clean the posts where the cam mounts to. And we're going to clean the old grease off the peg here. So yeah, this grease is a little bit crusty now. When it congeals like that, it's met the end of its life. So we'll just clean those off. And you definitely want to clean the inside of the cam here. So you want to get the old grease out. I have a new Q-tip. Ooh, this one's too fuzzy. And just remove the old grease from within where that post rides. And on the outside here, you'll see the old grease there. And then give it a wipe. And clean inside here again. There, nice and clean. And all that old yucky grease is gone. For this, I'll use a little bit of Permatex Ultra Slick synthetic grease, which I've had for years. How do I want to apply this? I think we'll use another Q-tip here, so we get a nice even spread. Just get yourself a little grease like that, and a little bit around here, and within here. You don't need a lot. You also want to make sure that this is functioning nicely. There are actually two pieces on this brass part here. Now, they need to be functioning independently of each other, okay? So the best thing to do would be to remove this, okay? But I'm going to warn you right now, that E-clip there is extremely small, okay? And it has a tendency to bend and to break. So what I do is I get a little bit of our friend here, WD-40, and I just spray in between them a little bit. just like that. And I'm talking about just the slightest amount. And if you look there, you can see how they're kind of separated. Just a smidge, okay? And that will actually loosen any dirt or grime between them. You can just work it back and forth a little bit with this peg here. Okay? And that is more than enough. You don't need to apply grease there. They just need to be independent of each other. Okay, and now finally we'll put a little bit of grease on the post. And the peg will get its own, will get grease from the cam. But here we go. That'll just continue to spread around as the auto return works. Okay, that is that. And then it's just a matter of putting it back on. Get it in the home position just like that, and make sure your peg lines up. It's nice that it's translucent. You can kind of see where it's supposed to be. And there, now you know that you're in the correct position as it turns around and does its wonky travel here. That's the home position. And you can put your E-clip back on. There. All done. Let's just activate it and watch it go. So you know that grease will spread around. Just do that a few times. Nice and smooth. All right. Now, I like to put a little bit of oil here. Any place there's a joint. It's not much above here. That's about it. Below there'll be a few more spots. Okay, be careful of your tone arm. So what I like to do is I just like to put, let me get my block. I like to support the tone arm. Actually, I'm going to zoom out just a little bit here. It's kind of hard to see. Because I'm going to need that alcohol. I just like to put something over here just to support that tone arm so it's not resting on it. Because it is an ultra light aluminum tone arm and it will bend real easy. Okay, so you got some lubrication points under here, obviously. Again, just a little bit of light oil. Whatever you have, machine oil. Actually, this is a good spot. Like, people have asked me, you know, about the 3-in-1 oils. And, whoops, there goes my solder sucker. So they've asked me about these 3-in-1 oils. So this is what I use for electric motors. This is just good for general lubrication, okay? If you have that question. But I do have some other products that I use as well. This is one of my favorite lubricants. It's called Super Lube, and I can't find it anymore, actually. So what I do with this, I just hit any place there's a joint, just like that. And you don't need a lot. I think that's everything. Okay, and I do like to check the tone arm movement here. Just make sure the switches are working good. Everything seems fine here. Now people are going to ask, what about the motor? Well, this is one of the few instances where I do not touch the direct drive motor. wires, a little funky. I don't touch them because it's pretty much sealed. And what's it say here in German? The motor and its electronic parts should only be serviced by an authorized serviceman. Oh, I shouldn't touch it then. So I don't touch this. I leave the direct drive motor as it is. Now, what about our speed selector switch? Oh yes, this is a service point over here. Forgot about this. Okay. So how are we doing for vision? Not good. In the corner here, right here, there is a speed pot. This can be cleaned with electronic contact cleaner. And you just want to spray just underneath like that. The little dab there. And there's a little contact switch here. You can hit this too. Just like that. That works fine. And then just reach in underneath and work the pitch control. It's a little tight. It loosens up fast. And then you can work your 3345 switch here. That's much better already. Okay, so you'll have stable speed. The other question I get quite a bit, how about those capacitors? How about them? Yeah. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 8 caps on there. There's a few of these weird, funky German caps on there. If you have the knowledge, you know how to solder, go at it. I don't have authorization to do that, and because the turntable is functioning, I am not going to change them. They look relatively easy to get at. Basically, you just need to unbolt the motor from the top, and then, or can you work on it from here? Actually, there's 2 pins here that hold the motor, and you could probably just bend these back and get this out. And there's your 2 fine speed adjustments for 33 and 45. They're right there, so you can do that as well if it requires adjustment. Okay, so one last point here. I'm just going to have a peek under this cap. Let's zoom in on that. I think this turntable has a mute switch. It looks like it has a mute switch. Yes, it does have a mute switch. That's why all the audio cables come in here. And you can see the mute switch is right here. And as this piece of plastic separates these 2 contacts, okay, so that is definitely a point of service. Contact cleaner there, 100%. Okay, and not only contact cleaner, my fingers out of the way. A little bit of extremely, either just paper or a very fine sandpaper, and just clean the contact points like this to ensure you've got good audio contact. Okay, so I just like to do that anytime you have a mute switch. So that mute switch will contact once the arm comes out. There we go. And that's how it moves. And this peg here activates it. And there is quite a bit of, I'm just looking, there's quite a bit of oxidation on these contacts. You can actually bend it back just a little bit to get your contact cleaner in there and just give those the slightest rub. and they'll become shiny clean again, and you'll ensure yourself solid contact. I don't know if you can see that, but there's just a little bit of oxidation that comes off the sandpaper there. Okay. And then you want to put your shield back on, just like that. All right. That's the 606. Oops. There's not a whole lot to this one, which is actually great because 1200 series duals require a lot of work. These are pretty much service free, and that's one of the reasons, like this gentleman's had this since brand new and it still works 100%. He says he's never had a problem with it. That's because there's so little to service on them, but it doesn't hurt to do a little bit of oiling and greasing just to keep things fresh and keep it running. Let's get it back into its case and set up the arm and do a little test. Okay, we're back in the case. Everything's bolted up. We're going to set up our ultralight tone arm. So what you want to do, there's two ways you can do this. You can do it with the power on or power off. I'm going to do it with the power on, okay, because you have to lower the tone arm. Grab it, okay, set your tracking force to 0. Loosen the nut on the side here, okay. So you're going to want to put your anti-skating to 0. You're going to want to move your weight in and out until you have a nice balance, okay? I'm going to go with it right there. So I'm going to lock that in. And then I'm going to fine tune how much weight I need here, just by turning the outside of the weight, which is right about there, okay? Lock it in. Now this is a dual ultra light cartridge, so 1.5 grams and 1.5 grams on anti-skating on elliptical. This is an elliptical. And let's see our speed. Where's our, there it is. Speed is nice and stable. I can already tell. Pitch control smooth, locks in real nice. 45, again, nice. No problems. All good. There's lock. Nice. Let's just hear how it sounds. So you put your stylus over it, find the track you want, down she goes. Just adjust our pitch control here with the weight down on the record. See how our auto return works. Very nice. Couldn't ask for better. I don't know how old this turntable is, probably early 80s, I'm going to say. Maybe late 70s. I would say, yeah, probably late 70s, I would think. Never been serviced. And a very, simple service at that, and still functioning. Nice table. high quality. So if you're in the market for something and you don't like belt drives or changing belts, these dual direct drives are every bit as good as a Techniques direct drive. Solid build quality, nice motors, and if you like the whole wood paneling kind of look, then this is right up your alley. All right, guys, that's another one. Service and out the door, dual 606 electronic direct drive. We'll catch you in the next video. Take care.